Wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Excuse me, what fraud? This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building and he says it's worth $400 million and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city, every developer is an entrepreneur. They shine the light on their building and they say it's worth 400. The bank does its own due diligence, as was done in this case, because they're very good at it. The banks are very good, and they say, no, it's worth 300. We're only going to loan you 150 million. That haggling has gone on for decades. That's how it works.
Video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. Get the merch link in the description section. If you love this shirt and you want it for free, all you got to do is get 2 hoodies. You get this for free. Buy 2 hoodies from the store. Get any shirt on the store absolutely free. We're only doing it to the end of this week. Like and subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell so you get notification anytime I go live. You already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. The only reason or the only way that Joe Biden could even come close to being competitive with Donald Trump in this election is if they cheat. And we all know they cheated last time. I mean, Stevie Wonder can see. I like to say Ray Charles can see and Stevie don't have to wonder if they cheated, because we could see 2,000 Mules was a movie that showed an example of a lot of different strategies they use in the swing states to cheat. If you look at it, the controversial states were the swing states. How in the world do we stop, counting votes only in the swing states? Donald Trump is up in every swing state. He's up by almost 1 million votes in Pennsylvania. You wake up in the morning and all of a sudden all the votes go to Joe Biden. There's definitely something nefarious there. Unless you're completely stupid and you are oblivious to reality, you should clearly identify that something happened in the election. The anomalies are phenomenal. When you look at Joe Biden, he didn't even campaign. How do you not campaign in a presidential election and still, quote unquote, win? There has never been in the history of this country a president that won the swing states that Donald Trump won and didn't win the presidency. There is no president in the United States history that had all but one bellwether county that he won and didn't win the presidency. There is no president in the United States history that got millions more votes in his reelection and didn't win the election. It's the anomalies. And I'm going to give you an anomaly that's happening this year that'll give you more proof that something must be crazy going on, because there has never in the history of the United States of America where a president had an approval rating like Joe Biden and won re-election. It has never happened in the history of this country. With all of those historical truths, it is very clear that Donald Trump should have a sweeping victory. And I know that he's winning and that they know he can win because they're coming after him with stupid stuff. We heard Kevin O'Leary just yesterday. I played the clip of him expressing how in the world does Donald Trump lose a $355 million suit with no victims?
Wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Excuse me, what fraud? This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building and he says it's worth $400 million and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city, every developer is an entrepreneur. They shine the light on their building and they say it's worth 400. The bank does its own due diligence, as was done in this case, because they're very good at it. The banks are very good, and they say, no, it's worth 300. We're only going to loan you 150 million. That haggling has gone on for decades. That's how it works. And then in this case, even the bank that was supposedly defrauded testified and said, we didn't lose anything. We want to do business with this guy again. We'd like to. But the judge said, no, 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 no. Let's penalize this developer for $355 million. And if we're going to do that, let's penalize all the developers, all across America. They've all done the same thing. All of them should go to jail, and we should stop building buildings. That's what the message is from New York. Even the governor herself is concerned about what this looks like to investors all around the world. It's not just U.S. domestic. All around the world, people are talking about what happened here. You really think people want to invest money in New York after this? How about we go somewhere else?
I think there are people who would, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to converse with you instead.
You just did.
It's only because I want to have a conversation,
you know what?
Kevin,
I respect
as opposed to just having you tell me.
I respect you because you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I got to tell you, I'm respectable for a number of reasons, Kevin O'Leary, but being a lawyer is one of those issues. But I'll tell you, when I hear your conversation, and I do want to converse with you about this point, I understand that there are legitimate concerns that were raised during the trial and will continue to be raised about who the quote-unquote, who is actually bringing the suit. It wasn't the banks who were saying that we as consumers or unsophisticated feel this way, but Letitia James, the Attorney General, and I know you want to expand beyond Trump, has suggested, well, it's about making the playing field level for those who are not the major and billionaire investors, but for those who are supposed to put business records out there, want to get a loan, the idea of making sure that they have to have the same true statements included as those who have a lot more money. Is there any weight to that for you?
Well, I asked you who lost money, and I'll make it even clearer. You and I, we're developing a data center together, and I say to you, we can go to New York, where this just happened. It's your money now. You're now an investor, and you're taking risk. You're an entrepreneur with me, right beside me. We're together on the deal. Or I can show you Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia, where the governors actually ran businesses. Let's go there, where this never happened before. They have power. They have permits. They've got legislation that's supportive of entrepreneurship. Why would we go to New York? Why take the risk? My only point is, did we just diminish the great state of New York and the great people of New York? And shouldn't they ask for better management so they don't become a flyover state? Remember, New York has the highest taxes in the country, the worst regulatory environment, and it's incredibly mismanaged. And I'm pointing out now, on top of that, you get this insanity. A victimless crime, and forget about Trump. It's not about Trump. I don't care about Trump in this. I care about America, and I care about entrepreneurship, and I care about democracy and the fairness. The judicial system is now being criticized. People are asking themselves, the bar of New York, is this judge rational to charge $355 million in a case where no one lost any money? Is that good for the people of New York? Should the people of New York wake up to this and say, what's happening to us? Why is this becoming so perverse? Why are we the focus of this injustice? And I have nothing to do with Trump. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm supporting American entrepreneurship. And New York is slowly becoming the #1 loser state in America. I'm sorry. That's what's happening.
If you are claiming that Donald Trump defrauded, defrauded banks and insurance companies, but none of those insurance companies or banks are victims of this, then where is he paying the money to? Oh, he's paying it to the state of New York. Listen, Donald Trump will benefit by moving his business out of New York, having nothing to do with New York. Kevin O'Leary said him and other investors will never invest in New York ever again. I think that, listen, this is what I think. You reap what you sow. These things backfire on people who are doing things of this nature with bad intent. We see what happened to that floozy, Fani Willis. Some people call her Fanny. They call her Fani. I don't know what it is. She's a floozy because she decided she's going to have an affair with a married man. And let me tell you this, black churches, if you hear me on the radio waves, can y'all please get your stuff together? There are some that I love. On my Instagram, I posted a bishop that I love at the Ramp Church. I think he's probably one of my favorite pastors. I think he's the most unique and genuine out of any pastor I've heard online, period. And I haven't had a chance to meet him, but I know of a pastor who's underneath him at a Ramp Church in Fort Worth, went to school with him, Now, he probably don't like me anymore because I'm a conservative Trump supporter. But Fani Willis get to go to these black churches and give speeches and say the devil is attacked, the country is against me because I'm a black woman. No, because you were having sex with a guy that you hired as a special counsel. You were having an affair. Forget the sex part. Grown people have sex. A conflict of interest is what idiots do in investigations so they can, mess up the whole thing. But Fani had an affair with this man. This man was married. When you file for divorce, you're not fully divorced. You have to go through the whole proceeding to be officially divorced. Filing for divorce is the beginning of the process. You can't file for divorce and then sleep with somebody. Now we all know, anybody with a connected brainstem know that she was smashing this dude in 2019. A lady that she rented a house from, or she took over the lease of her house, knew Fani well. Fani bragged about, according to this lady, Fani bragged about how she was having an affair with this guy. The young lady came on, took the stand with her right hand up and said that she saw Fani Willis and Wade kissing and being intimate with each other in 2019, which means that the man was married at the time. He didn't file for divorce until 2021, claiming that their affair started like 4 or 5 months later in 2022, admitting to the relationship. You can't make this stuff up. Now her stuff is getting blown apart. Then this judge that looked like, the dude looked creepy, Ingeron or whatever his name is from New York, passing down a judgment like this on Donald Trump. I hope that it hurts the state. I hope that major investors quit investing or divest from New York State. We've seen that a ton of billionaires have moved out of New York and moved right down to Florida. I hope that it continues. Me and the wife was talking about this last night or the night before. What's going to happen to these states like California and New York? What's going to happen to them? I think they're going to go to zero. What they're doing policy-wise is not sustainable over time. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but in 10 years, where are they going to be if they don't change course? They're losing a lot of residents. The taxes are way too high. Policies and restrictions and all this stuff is out of control. What they did to Trump is a violation, in my opinion, of ethics when it comes to investing in the state. California is a hellhole. They got homeless people everywhere. Crime is out of control. You're not safe nowhere, even in a nice neighborhood. Beverly Hills, you ain't safe there. You'll get mugged. You'll get robbed. People will take your chain off, your necklaces, in one of the most beautiful states in the union. And then the man running the state is a scam artist. So they don't have a chance. Even Kathy Hochul had to somewhat articulate and convince people to still invest in New York after what they did to Donald Trump. We can go down the list to the rest of it. If this man don't go to jail and he get back in the Oval Office, there's going to be hell to pay, and they're going to deserve every bit of it. My prayer isn't supportive of these people. My prayer is that they fall in the same pit that they try to set up for other people. That's my prayer with anybody that I consider to be an enemy of mine. I hope that if you are attacking me, if you are doing something unjust, I'm not saying you disagree with me or you think I'm wrong, you got a justifiable reason to combat me or whatever the case may be. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about somebody who don't like me or whatever, and they are intentionally doing things that are untoward to try to ruin my life or whatever the case may be behind the scenes somewhere. I hope that you fall in the same pit that you try to set up for me. That is my ultimate prayer, just like King David did. I'll play a clip from Letitia James, who's a complete crook, and all these people should go to jail. And it's sad because I want to uplift black people and show that we are worthy. Black people are just as American as anybody else. There does not need to be a deviation between black and white. But it's hard when you got Letitia James and the other nasty woman having an affair, Fani Willis. These women are leading the charge against a man that's trying to change our country, and they happen to be black. What a shame. Play clip 1, Letitia James.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek judgment enforcement mechanisms in court. And we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Now to the ABC News exclusive tonight after Donald Trump was fined nearly $55 million in his civil fraud case. Tonight, New York State's Attorney General Letitia James saying she's prepared to seize Donald Trump's assets, including his buildings, if he doesn't pay the money. ABC's Aaron Katersky, one-on-one tonight with the Attorney General.
4 days after a judge ordered Donald Trump to pay $355 million for a decade of fraud, New York Attorney General Letitia James says she's prepared to do everything she can to make sure the former president pays his fine, including, she told us, seizing the buildings that bear his name.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Trump was held liable for exaggerating his wealth and inflating the value of his real estate so banks would give him low-interest loans. Trump insisted the banks liked doing business with him.
They said no victim, no one got harmed, the banks got paid back, so no harm, no foul. Why is that not the case in your view?
So financial frauds are not victimless crimes. He engaged in this massive amount of fraud, and it wasn't just a simple mistake, a slight oversight. The variations were wildly exaggerated, and the extent of the fraud was staggering.
Trump said the penalty against him would drive other businesses out of New York.
We'll appeal, we'll be successful, I think, because frankly, if we're not successful, New York State is gone.
But the state's attorney general told us she's not worried.
And last I checked, tourism is up, and Wall Street is doing just fine.
Even with an impending appeal, Trump must either put all $355 million in escrow at the court or post a portion of it as a bond with interest. And David, tonight the Attorney General is telling us she is determined to make Trump pay, even if it means seizing this building or others long in the Trump portfolio. David?
Aaron Katersky with the exclusive interview tonight. Aaron, thank you.
The funny thing is, and I will articulate this to the day I die, that if you're saying that Donald Trump overinflated his net worth, overinflated his assets to defraud banks and insurance companies, how do you think he gonna pay $354 million? What assets do we have if you're claiming he overinflated the assets? Then the other dummy is saying that Mar-a-Lago is only worth $17 million. There's a house up in Silver Lake that's on a 2-acre lot that's worth $30 million. You telling me all of Mar-a-Lago is worth 17? It's on 17 acres. With 6 acres, it appears to be waterfront. And another 4 or 5 acres on the other side, waterfront. And it's $17 million. There's a house just north on the water, 1 acre lot, a house that's like 5,000 square feet that's worth $50 million. Y'all gotta be smoking crack. Hold the phone.